Diego and I could not wait for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and I have our review. Welcome to Movie World Plus, a place where we talk movies. I'm Andy Signore, and last night we got to see Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Look, I've really enjoyed this franchise. I've enjoyed watching it with my kids. I've enjoyed watching it as an adult and fan of the video game. I was never as big into the lore, to be honest. I know there's a lot more comic book, cartoon stuff to Sonic. I will admit I wasn't as familiar with Shadow. I didn't go that deep. But I played the games as a kid. I saw the Jill White cartoon from time to time, and I like these characters. And it's nice to see that this world has grown to this place, that there's this, big action-packed family film with these lovable characters. And you gotta sort of expect that going into it. If you were not a fan of the previous Sonic movies, you're not gonna like Sonic 3. If you were a fan of those movies and you're excited, I think you're gonna have a blast with Sonic 3. It continues. It gets a little darker than I expected, but in a good way, and still keeps the same fun, color, and action of the previous two. There's some issues which I'll address as we go through, but overall, be positive. If you're a Sonic fan, this film does do it justice, does Shadow justice. The gang's back and more colorful than ever. They're now a united team. And they're sort of enjoying their time as a family when, mysterious figure enters the fray. Shadow. The movie starts with a backstory sort of showing that he's been frozen in time, Winter Soldier style, for about 50 years. And he's unleashed. As we present, the movie presents its story, like we learn there's definitely more behind Shadow and why he's so vengeful. And it's a touching story. It is. The film's also filled with double the Jim Carrey, which was nice. I am a huge Jim Carrey fan. I wish he would be in more films, to be honest, but I know he sort of retired and came back for this because he, I think just literally admitted he could use the check because his lifestyle is very expensive. But also he said, I really wanted to be part of a family film that the whole family could go to. It's nice to be able to step back in and have a place where I can go do that. And he does. And he gets to really, this is the biggest of the Jim Carrey in all of them because he's got two big roles in this film and playing opposite themselves. And it's fun. I would say the first one had more of the Ace Ventura vibe, which I really liked. Him sort of the Robotnik. And in this one, it's definitely a little bit more hammy where he's sort of acting opposite his grandfather. And it worked for me. It's funny at times, but weirdly enough, I still think I prefer him in the first one. Is still my favorite Jim Carrey of all the Sonics, but it's still fun. It's still nice with Jim Carrey, and it's nice to see him doing this opposite role. Ben Schwartz, again, does a great job as the voice, but everyone is obviously wondering and was excited to hear Keanu Reeves as the voice of Sonic's adversary, Shadow. And yeah, he does a great job. I watched another piece where Jeff Fowler, director, was talking about how he and Keanu really listened to the other characters' voices, particularly, Knuckles, which Idris Elba does a great job as, and Colleen O'Shaughnessey, who does a fantastic job this time as Tails. Tails definitely gets to do a little bit more in this one, which I liked. It's not like a huge starring role for Tails, but Tails has some more moments in this one, which I felt were needed because there's so many characters and sprawling characters. Tails seems to always get second fiddle, and it was nice to see Tails get their due and have some moment to shine in this, and she does a great job. But these characters are, lovable characters with their own distinct voices. Each one, Idris in here, and Ben's sort of sarcastic, and Colleen, so there are these different voices, and they made a point for Shadow and Keanu specifically to listen and find something that wasn't there. And there's this calm Keanu-ness, but a darkness to it that really does fit the mix and feels different and adds, like I said, another layer to the Sonic universe, which honestly I do think it was missing. So, overall, I was really, look, do I think this was the best one? No, it starts strong and it does end strong. But the middle does have to go back and forth to sort of set up a lot of backstories. And the problem with this franchise is now becoming that there's so many characters to play in, that you have to, they feel like they have to justify and give everybody something to do, which I get it. It's a big movie. But in doing so, some of the, the more exciting stuff I feel like tampers down because they're back trying to justify this person or justify that person. It doesn't always flow as well as I think it could have. And in almost a way I wish it was sort of just Sonic and Shadow more than anything else. But overall, I can't complain. I did like the London finale is cool. They did the premiere out there in London fittingly because they definitely run around and destroy parts of London. And it's nice to have double the Jim Carrey. I'm not complaining. There was something about it at times, especially in the middle, where I did get a little bored, I would say. My kid loved it. Here's Diego's review in case you were curious. Here we are leaving the theater. We just saw Sonic 3. How was it, buddy?
Good.
How was it compared to the other two Sonic movies?
Different.
Who was your favorite character?
Shadow.
Shadow, was he cool? Keanu Reeves as Shadow is pretty scary, is he not? It's darker. Did you think it was too dark or was it funny?
Dark.
It's kind of serious at times, right? But overall, compared to all the Sonic films, which one's your favorite?
Sonic 3 with Shadow.
Sonic 3 with Shadow is Diego's favorite. I love you, buddy. High five. Woohoo! He's got a Sonic shirt and I got my Ace Ventura shirt because you get 2 Jim Carreys in this one. You do get 2 Jim Carreys, and he was tired because the movie was late, but he was excited. He said, "Dad, I want to be in the review." So we filmed a little piece there with him, and yeah, look, overall, what I share that also just because the kids are gonna love it. Diego loved it. Diego said it was his favorite. Even as we were talking afterwards, and before that, is it the best? He sort of every new Sonic movie is the best, and not to get into spoilers, and I'm not going to tell you what happens. There are two end credit scenes. One big mid-credit scene that shows you where things are going to go next, which I will say I really did enjoy. And I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. I'm excited for that. And then afterwards, there's another one after the credits, a smaller but sort of pivotal plot moment. If you're wondering, more about the plot, that was less big. The second one, definitely the first one, the mid-credit scene, you can't miss that one. That's the big direction of where things are going to head. And I'll say Diego and I were excited for that. But overall, yeah, look, it's a fun movie. It is definitely a fun movie. The action's really great. Jim Carrey, the guy, what's his name? Agent Stone, his assistant, gets a pretty meaty role in this one too. And it was nice to see him sort of step up into the franchise a bit more as well. And there's like a funny scene where he's walking around with Tails, like, what's it like to be in Sonic's assistant? And Tails is like, well, no, I'm not his assistant. I'm his friend. And it's sort of an interesting dynamic between Stone and Robotnik. I enjoyed that part of it. It was nice. But again, yet another character that's given more time. I will say the human characters, Donut Lord and his wife, just not a fan of the actress playing his wife. She just, I don't know. There's just something, never loved her performance. Don't know the actress's name. Don't even mean to pick her out. There's something about it. James Marsden, I've liked in the previous two, but he does feel a little bit shoehorned in this. There's a sort of a with great power, where there's great responsibility sort of theme throughout that is strong and works. But I do think the human characters are definitely phasing out. Sonic is growing out from his family, and in a way, it hurts and helps the film. They do bring them back towards the end to sort of give them something to do. And I will complain about one thing. They went like Mission Impossible style, where there's this technology now where they can just basically turn into other people, like the Mission Impossible masks. Instead, it's just digitally now they're walking around as whoever they want to be. And I found that very lazy and frustrating. I'm like, really? Now we're just going to have everybody changing, double crossing, and pretending to be one another? Wasn't a fan of that. I'm never a fan of that in the movies. I think that's a cheap shit. Even in Mission Impossible, it's like my least favorite thing, but I feel like they at least tried to justify it, and then they sort of did it. In this one, I was like, oh no, there's a few sort of technical things like that overall, you got to sort of leave your brain at the door. But overall, I will say I did have fun with Sonic 3. Again, because I'm a fan of the franchise, it's a continuation of where you came from. Shadow is a good addition. There's definitely some more serious tones in this one, which I appreciated, and still some good laughs and good action based on the franchise. Is it my favorite of them? No, I don't think I really do think they're chronological order for me so far. It's 1, 2, and 3. I'd have to rewatch 2 again to sort of, does 2 go before 3? I don't know. Maybe because of Keanu Reeves. I do like Shadow better than Knuckles. I'll be honest. Knuckles I haven't watched the Knuckles show. My kid loved it, but I found it kind of not very good. And I like Wade as a character, but it just felt, I don't know. It felt out of universe to me. And his character is kind of like Drax, which is like in small doses, it works for me. But the whole Akutna warrior thing just gets very old very quick for me. So it's not my favorite. I will say Tails definitely over all day. And then Sonic and Shadow is really what this movie is supposed to be. And it does give you that. But where this goes as more characters are introduced, I don't know how they'll handle it all, but I'll be there. My kids and I will be there without a doubt. And I think a lot of people are going to be there this weekend. If you like the previous two Sonics, get excited. And then meanwhile, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that bell for all alerts. Smash that thumbs up as well. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. A lot of movies this holiday season. I've reviewed most of them now. You got Mufasa. You got Sonic 3. You got Wicked. I'd say out of all of them, I still like Wicked the best. Wicked is probably my favorite film of the year. And I saw it again with my daughter. That finale is fantastic. I'll own it. I loved it. Cannot wait. I don't think the world's ready for Wicked for Good, the sequel next year. I will be there. We'll be there for Sonic 4 and all the rest of them. So make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for more here on Movie World Plus.